Alright, today I'm gonna tell you a story about a soldier, a poor soldier. In his country, every man has to do military service for about 2 years. But after 5 months of his military service, he killed himself. We'll call him Mr. Kim. It was 2013 when he started his national service. Actually, the start was not that bad for him. It was only as bad as usual. You know, in a boot camp, they act like they are totally deaf. You know what I mean? They yell at you all the time. And then to answer that, you almost have to scream out your guts until you can taste your blood. And sometimes, they just keep singling you out for no reason. Then they don't stop until your head is about to explode. You know what I mean? Let me show you what it looks like. They're like, hey you, what's your name? You should do it more like this. Jinseok! You never look at them. But then, they're like, are you fucking kidding me? Louder! Then you go, Jinseok! Louder! Jinseok! Something like that. But the real problem was waiting for Mr. Kim when he got stationed at an Air Force unit. His boss, First Lieutenant Ha, didn't really like his subordinate, and we don't know why. But anyway, the extreme harassment started and lasted until Kim hung himself. First Lieutenant Ha inflicted on Kim constant insults on his character, various disciplinary punishment, and of course, physical violence, and so on. We're not going to get into the details because it's too brutal, but basically what happened was he gets yelled at so much on duty, then he gets so nervous, and then he makes more mistakes, then gets punished again. It goes on and on like that, and then finally, he comes to suffer from panic attacks. He wrote something like this on his diary. My mind goes blank all the time. I can't seem to remember anything. I know it sounds such a lame excuse, but what's wrong with me? Finally, the day came. June 30th, 2013. Then President Park was supposed to fly back from China, and First Lieutenant Ha was supposed to attend the welcoming ceremony. So Ha ordered Kim to put a button on his uniform. But you know, Kim was so nervous as usual. Then he was breaking out in a cold sweat. Then his hands were so shaking, so he couldn't do the job properly. So of course, First Lieutenant Ha went completely crazy yelling at him, and then he saw it on his own. But unfortunately, while he was working on his uniform, he missed a phone call, a very important phone call, which is about President Park coming back earlier than expected. So Ha was so late for the ceremony. What happened next is, Ha's superior laid into Ha. Ha came back fuming. Ha took it out on Kim. But not just yelling, you know what I mean? But cursing and insulting. And Ha even made Kim run laps around a training ground with a full combat gear until he became utterly exhausted. But Ha didn't make him do it alone, of course not alone, with Kim's 2 corporals, so that they also get mad at Kim and harass him even more. And the next morning, at 4 a.m., Kim was found hanging on the handrails of a staircase. A quote from his note. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's about time to finish. So he ended his suffering. But of course, it was not the end at all. You know what I mean? For his parents, it was only the beginning. After 22 days of his death, I said 22 days, not 22 hours. The Air Force finally reached his parents and then informed them their son's death. And said, there was nothing like cruel treatment. Everything was normal. But actually, it was his mental disease that choked him and killed him. But he had never received any therapy before his military service. And also he went to a university. He was a great student at the university, which is known as one of the best universities in this country. And according to his fellow soldiers, he was quite an outgoing and positive kind of person. You know what I mean? So it was not really a suicide. What killed him then? What happened next is the Air Force covered up the whole story. First Lieutenant Ha had his indictment suspended, and Kim's parents are forced to live with it.